Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now. Hey Chris, did you take that picture with your iPhone 4S camera? Many of you have asked this when I've posted these photos to my Facebook account, facebook.com/Chris Pirillo. You can subscribe to me there now. And then, of course, the Google Plus account. I've been sharing photos there as well. Some really nice images here in the Pacific Northwest. It's the time of year where leaves are changing colors and falling off of trees. Actually, I shot this about a week ago, and already these trees have been flooded with red, and I hope to go back to this location tomorrow. This image as well was taken with the iPhone 4S. The colors are very vibrant. It may be very difficult for you to discern the detail level of these images and just how sharp these images are. You can, of course, subscribe to my Flickr feed, Google+, Facebook, and beyond. But I just wanted to kind of give you a rundown as we, if I remember my keyboard shortcuts, kind of explain some of the bigger differences between the iPhone 4S and the iPhone 4. This is a shot here close to our neighborhood. Again, the trees this time of year are just absolutely just beautiful. And the detail level that I'm able to pull out of nature, thanks to the camera on the iPhone 4S, is certainly, I would say, it surpasses the iPhone 4, and I'll show you why in just a few minutes. Hopefully, well, sooner than that if I flip through them. I'm kind of going through them really quick, showing you just some of the more vibrant scenes that I've been able to capture. Not at full resolution. That's full resolution, and you can see the details in some of the leaves if you zoom in on this video and you're watching that video in full resolution. So let's go up. Don't worry, I'm getting there. I just want to show you that it's beautiful this time of year. If you don't think this is beautiful, there's something seriously wrong with you. This is where I live, in Seattle. Just so beautiful. I mean, come on, dude. What are you going to take pictures of, right? What else other than nature? So let's go ahead and show you some of the bigger differences between the iPhone 4S and the iPhone 4. Here again is another shot. This is a view out of our, just off our back porch. This picture was taken with the 4S, and this one is with the 4. Now, you may not be able to discern some of the bigger differences between the two, specifically in this camera, because it's calibrated to a different color at this point in time. In the iPhone 4, there's less uniformity in the color, specifically the sky. On the left side, it's this purplish hue. This image, again, taken with the iPhone 4, I get a purplish hue, so not very uniform color, versus a uniform color across the board, more uniformity in the iPhone 4S. I mean, let's put the resolution aside, because, quite frankly, I don't care how many megapixels you have. If the pictures suck, they can suck at any megapixel. This is another dramatic difference between the 4S and the 4. I focused in on the foreground, kind of ignoring the background, and in the iPhone 4S, it was able to pull out more details in the background, the clouds in the background, even with a largely blue sky, versus the 4, which kind of just munged the detail. It's just this white blob in the backdrop, versus a more detailed, let's see if I can get in a little closer there. If I can zoom in, I think you can tell there's a bit more definition in the clouds there, versus this one, which is just this white blah. So there's one a bigger difference between the 4 and the 4S. This image is the 4, this is the 4S. And the differences between the two, here we've got this hot pink color, this painting by Justin Hillgrove. Here it's a more muted pink, and this is actually closer to the true color of the painting. Just bathed in natural light, as you see a little reflection there. It's the sun's coming. I don't know if the sun was really shining that day, but it's bouncing in. More natural color with the details of the painting versus this. And the colors, as was true for every image that I took with the 4, the iPhone 4, the colors tended to be a bit more saturated. Here's a familiar view, the 4S and the 4. Look at the color here in the curtains. The 4S and the 4. And I think, if I'm looking in the preview the right way, the 4 is saturating, oversaturating every color, versus the 4S, it's a much more muted color, but really closer to a truer color than anything. And I would say, in this particular example, I also want to point out that I had issues, as much issues with the 4 as I did the 4S, of blurry photos. Whether I was taking them indoors with plenty of light or outdoors with plenty of light, they would seem to blur at times, which is a frustration. And the only way I found around that is to use the ClearCam photo app. It basically takes a series of 6 shots and then only keeps the most clear photo out of the bunch. And so that way, instead of taking 7 photos hoping you got one clear, you just need to shoot and it takes it once. Or it takes... Hang on, let me just demonstrate it for you. It'll be easier to do this way. Should have just done this in the first place. ClearCam. I hit that. I pointed it, just kind of click that. So it takes those images, looks at the most clear one, and then saves that image to your camera roll. So then I don't, there we go, so it's saved. So I got the clearest image out of the whole bunch instead of having to take it 7 times. So oversaturated versus something that was closer to, I would say, the truer color. But again, I had issues in getting a clear image on the 4S comparatively speaking. So that's still a frustration with a lot of, a lot of cameras, whether we're talking about these types of point and shoots, a traditional point and shoot camera, or a camera phone. I've yet to find a really good camera phone or smartphone with a camera on it that can take clear pictures right away without any kind of blur, really. That to me destroys a photo. Some low light differences between the 4S and the 4. Of course, you're going to see noise in just about any type of picture that comes out of a phone, whether it's super high quality or not. I mean, you've got a certain amount of light, and when you can't get enough light to that sensor, you're going to introduce digital noise. So, but that being said, between the two, the 4 and the 4S, you may not be able to discern, but the details were sharper in the 4S versus the 4. I would also go as far as to say that the 4 has produced like these bands, these and this is going to be extremely difficult to point out, but there's these stripes of information for some reason that came out in the low light with the picture taken with the 4, I would say potentially consistently, versus the 4S, which produced a better image in low light. Now, the starkest differences between, or the contrast really, between the 4S here and the 4, you can tell. I know you can tell in this video. The 4, the 4S. 4, 4S. Many of you had pointed out this particular dramatic difference, with the video sample that I recorded and uploaded about a week ago. The 4 tends to make things blue. Some people say, no, well, the 4S makes things yellow. Well, maybe it skews more yellow, but it's closer to a truer color. Certainly, this was not, none of these photos that I'm showing you here have been retouched, at least the comparison photos. This is, I would say, pretty sharp. This is true green, true yellow, versus on the 4S versus a bluish green on the 4. So yeah, you've seen that the 4 camera sucks. There you go. I said it. Are you happy? It's not perfect. Still always going to be looking for a better product. There's a big difference between the 4 and the 4S. Here's a close-up shot of the Lego home office. I would say, again, lower light, less saturation, finer, collection of detail in the Lego studs. Didn't really get, I would say, a truly perfect image here in terms of focus, but I would say this is a pretty representative of what you would see, whether you can perceive it in the video here or not, the saturation or oversaturation in the 4 versus a better, truer color in the 4S. An outdoor shot, again, the 4, this is a green. There's Wicket down there. It does look green, but it tends to be a more saturated green. This is, on the 4S, more of a truer to life green. And the bigger difference between the two, I talked about how the iPhone 4 tends to over blue things. The rocks here that have, I guess some bluish tones to them, seem to be more gray, speckled gray versus blue, and everything kind of having this blue hue to it in the 4 versus the 4S. A shot of our backyard there. So pretty dramatic differences between the two. The 4S is here, muted colors, oversaturation with the 4. Also had an easier time getting a clearer shot with the 4S than I did with the 4 outside. Some people had remarked, well, it looks like in the video sample that I shot, looks like the 4S sucks at macro shots, and that's actually not true. You can actually get closer depth of field in the 4S than you can with the 4. It's just you always have to refocus. So the 4S does take better macro shots than the 4. It's just I didn't illustrate that because I didn't refocus as I should have done with the video as I was recording the video. It was just taking a fixed focal point on the video recording with the sample that I did. So there you go, kind of a rundown. For the most part, you've seen that the image quality on the 4S is better than the 4, and it's true. That's what I've seen every step of the way. I'm very glad that during this fall period that I've had the 4S, because I've been able to snap some pretty amazing photos if I can get all the way back down there again. Just beautiful shots. And I don't know if it ever gets this way where you live, but I tell you, I love the Pacific Northwest. All these shots were taken with the iPhone 4S. And if you want to see the full view of any one of them, I've got, I mean, the detail that I've been able to pull out here is pretty astounding. All the way down to, if I can zoom in the right way, there we go, all the way down to water droplets on the leaves. I didn't touch up this photo at all. This is the way the color was. A lot of Canadians like this photo in particular. Go Canada! So there you go, my experience. Yours may have been the same or different, I don't know. Thank you for liking this video, or at least, my attempt to better illustrate the differences in the quality that you can come to expect from an iPhone 4S camera, as well as a little tip, hopefully a couple tips I threw in there for you. You can follow me all over social media, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and beyond. Subscribe to LockerGnome.com for all the latest tech information. And then, of course, we also have the chat room, part of a live video feed, streaming out over the web 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at live.perillo.com. We'll see you later.